This is the Legit Betting Edge podcast, episode number 17. My name is Brian Bonito. I'm with my partner, Scott Johnson. Scott, good morning. It's Monday. What's happening?
Glad to get back at it, man. Last week was crazy and a lot of holiday stuff, a lot of family stuff going on. So I'm glad to get back, and college basketball's here. So it looks like it's doing okay. So I'm hoping, I know there's been a ton of games canceled, but keeping my fingers crossed that it all happens. So let's hit it.
That's good. Yeah, I saw, college football still getting canceled. Obviously, now the 49ers can't play in their own home stadium last couple of games. Just some really nutty stuff going on. Yeah, so it's really tough to get a gauge on things. And this COVID protocol is really affecting lines. We'll go to the Minnesota game. We'll talk about a couple of things. But first, how do they find you on social media?
Go to my Twitter page. That's at ScojoAZ Sports. You can find me on Twitter. My website is scojopicks.com. I'm over on Instagram, ScojoPicks, and Facebook. My page is ScojoPicks. You can find me there. And I've got an action app, too, that you can follow. That's on my profile on my Twitter page. So if you want to follow my bets and stuff like that, you can go there and follow me there also.
Perfect. This is the Legit Betting Edge podcast channel on YouTube. If you're watching this video, smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. You can find me on Twitter at @my_bankroll. And let's get right into it and let's talk about football. I know we're going to get college basketball. We got some games going today, and I know you like a couple of them, but let's clean up the whole football thing. Back to what I was saying, COVID. So, a guy like Adam Thielen is out for Minnesota. I don't think people realize, that's leadership that's not on the field. And they've just lost their minds in the second half, lose 2 fumbles. They come back. They get lucky to win that game. But these COVID protocols, Broncos have no quarterback.
I know, that's crazy.
It's some silly shit out there.
Yeah, no, Thielen, my fantasy team's destroyed this year. I mean, I had Thielen. I've had Dak Prescott. I had McCaffrey. So my team's been, but yeah, the COVID thing is just, and the thing going on with the Ravens and the Steelers, they're pushing them back. They make the Broncos play. I don't know. It's crazy. I guess we could be thankful that we're at least getting sports, but yeah, I don't know how much longer it's going to last. And like I said, as I just got my fingers crossed that college basketball can make it. I'm watching the Maui Classic right now in Asheville, North Carolina. So they got the Maui Classic floor going and everything. So that's pretty cool. But
that's cool. To me, it's and again, San Francisco 49ers can't play and I don't know if the Rams can play in their home stadium. They're
going to be playing here. They're going to be playing in Arizona, from what I hear. Yeah,
49ers will be playing there. Yeah, so it's a lot of crazy stuff. Yeah, it's a good perspective. We should be happy that sports are at least going. They're not going to close down. They can't close down again. We can't survive another shutdown economically speaking. The whole country will be a wasteland. So they gotta adapt and just keep going and deal with whatever illnesses come. But kudos to Colorado and San Diego State and even Washington and Utah for setting up games right after one game got canceled. So you're able to put another game together. Kudos to those schools for saying, hey, let's not quit. Let's get something going here just because, California's screwy. Let's fix something up over here. And so they did. Colorado played San Diego State in San Diego State, and I believe they covered that game. They were favored by 3. I don't know the final score. But, yeah, so just kind of makeshifting things. But what's happening is, these games, especially yesterday, man, crazy referees, penalties at the end of the games, Giants game, at the end of the Browns had that game covered. Phantom call on fourth down for the Jaguars, and then the Jaguars score and missed the 2-point conversion. Rest control and the outcomes of point spread games yesterday, very late in games. Rarely do you see that late in the game on multiple games, which we did see. And then you have the Chicago Bears last night who just, aren't ready.
Yeah, and, in Arizona, gags again at New England. They pretty much, gave that game away. Cliff Kingsbury, he doesn't know what he's doing, when to do it, when to go for 4th downs, when not to go for 4th downs. Can't score on the, 4th and goal at the 1-yard line right before half. And I don't know, just mismanagement. It just seems that they can't get anything right. They've won 6 games. They're 6-5. They're still in control of their own destiny to get to the playoffs, but I just don't. I have no faith in this team whatsoever. I mean, I don't know what they're doing on offense. I mean, they ran the ball okay yesterday, but they didn't throw to Hopkins. I know he had Gilmore on him, but this team is a mess. And I just, like I said, Kingsbury, guy might be a great play caller, but he hasn't proven anything to me so far as being able to manage a game at all. And then Zane Gonzalez, I mean, what are you doing? You can't make a 49-yard field goal, can't make a 44-yard field goal. I mean, those things are layups for these kickers these days. And, he's gone. He can't make a kick when it matters. So I think they're going to let him go.
And I don't disagree with you. It should be my play of the week was the New England Patriots, and that's only because the previous Thursday, I saw how undisciplined the Cardinals are. And really, so you got Gonzalez, he misses the kicks, but is that a trickle down for the whole entire attitude within the locker room, the lack of confidence, and the hesitation when you go for fourth down, you don't go for fourth down, you're not consistent, you don't believe in your guys. Look, Murray is a great quarterback. He's got skills beyond belief, but he lacks anticipation, and that's something I'm sure he'll grow into. Because he's got a gun for an arm, but a wide receiver has to be wide open, or he's throwing late somewhere. He can't anticipate, and he doesn't see the field. He doesn't see the whole field before the snap. You got guys in the flat that are wide open. He could just flip the ball, and they could be running their asses off. So a lot of times I see that, and so that's obviously I went against him just because Bill Belichick, I know he's a stickler for details, like Saban is in the college ranks, and so that's why I went against him. But yeah, you're right. The buck stops and starts with Cliff Kingsbury, right? So if he can't get it under control, if he can't instill some discipline, he's too busy thinking about the next play he's going to call. He can't manage the other part of it. He can't get, so you got all these out of the line things happening, and it's causing this team to fall short where they could be steamrolling. Obviously, they got enough. The defense is pretty weak. It's pretty soft, especially up front. But they could be winning a lot more. It could be scoring more points.
Yeah, and what happened in Denver is just crazy. I mean, they play a game without a quarterback. I mean, that's just. I mean, was there easier money on the board yesterday than that? I mean, they're literally playing without a quarterback. The fact that they let him throw 9 passes was shocking to me. But what did he end up throwing 2 picks? Was that what it was yesterday?
I'm not. I know he completed 1 pass. I know he completed 1 pass. They threw 2 picks and 1 pass. I don't. He threw how many times? 9 times. He threw 2 picks. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think he threw 9 times. I mean, that's just a shame. I mean, and then Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh, they're 10-0, but they've just gotten the raw end of this COVID thing all the way through. So the Ravens are getting saved and able to move their games, and Denver has to play. So I don't know. I don't understand. But anyway, we've got a Monday Night Football game.
Arbitrary rules going on depending on who you are and where you are, and
exactly.
We have Monday Night Football. Right. We got the Seahawks in Philadelphia. What are your thoughts on the game? And probably let's get a pick on this. Where are you leaning?
Yeah. To be honest, I haven't looked a lot at football with college basketball going, but did look at this game, and Philadelphia's a mess. Carson Wentz is. I don't know what happened to this guy. I know he hasn't had any weapons all year long, so that's hurt. His offensive line has been beat up. I think it's still beat up. The Seahawks defense was atrocious at the beginning, but they seem to have, with a couple of moves and Adams back, and now they got Duncan on the line. It looks like they've kind of, I mean, they're not great, but they're a little bit better. They're not giving up what they were before. So I was trying to be on Philadelphia, thinking that this was their division to win, that they, I kept waiting for them to take that next step, but every team in this division just doesn't want it. And I don't think the Eagles, I mean, can they stay inside the 7? I mean, possible they play some ugly games in Seattle, but I mean, I'm not going to have a bet on this game, but if I had to do anything, I would probably lean Seattle minus the 7. But like I said, Philadelphia is just too screwy for me. I don't know. I don't know if they've thrown in the towel, if they're still fighting, what's going on, what their mood is going to be. So I stay off this game. I lean Seattle, but I really have no play on this game whatsoever.
Yeah, it's tough to play the game. Lines moving, heavy money coming in on Seattle from probably the pros and the Joes. My thought is this, though. Again, go back to that Thursday night game. I know Seattle's got 10 days rest here, and Philadelphia had a tough time in Cleveland. When I look at this game and I see what happened in Cleveland, I think Cleveland's a great team. I mean, not great as in they can win the Super Bowl. I think they're rock solid. They'll win their first playoff game at home, or they might be on the road for the wild card. They will be on the road. Maybe they win, maybe they don't win. But I think they're a solid playoff team. And I think Philadelphia just couldn't get anything going. It was raining out there, etc. It was their second road game. I just think Philadelphia. I think Seattle's defense is a tonic that Philadelphia is going to get healthy with. I think Carson Wentz is going to have a good game. I honestly do. And the way Russell Wilson played last week against the Cardinals, you see how elated he was. They actually won that game, and the Cardinals played shitty in that game. So I just think Russell Wilson's been beat up to the point where if Philadelphia can generate a pass rush, they got a shot at winning this game outright, I think. Call me crazy, but I think Philadelphia's won their last two at home. I would lean Philadelphia. I'll wait all the way to game time. I'll take 7. If I see this, I thought I saw it at 6.5 just before this, but I'll look to make a play on Philadelphia just based on the fact that, hey, it's do or die tonight. It's Monday night, and you're at home, and Seattle has a terrible defense, and I just think that Philadelphia is more stout up front than anybody Seattle's seen except for the Rams recently.
Yeah, totally agree. Like I said, Philadelphia's just been I've been on them a couple times, and they've been one of those teams for me. I just can't get them right. So, and I've just stayed away from the NFC East altogether. Those teams. Washington actually now is looking like the team that might win that division. That defense is really, really good. I mean, they don't have a lot on offense. They need a quarterback, but that defense can keep them in games. So Washington looks like they might come out of that NFC East this week. Ask me next week.
Yeah. Ask me next week. Alex Smith actually looked pretty good, and I like Alex Smith. I root for him. One more thing. I did mention the Rams here. Jared Goff, just pathetic. Handing points to the 49ers yesterday. They blew that game. He blew that game up. You know, here's what happens. You come off beating Tom Brady in the Bucs. Probably people chattered in his ear, hey, you got him back for the Super Bowl you lost. And then you show up at home and you blow a game. You're favored by 7 points against the 49ers. That's pathetic. Jared Goff, you are a loser. Anyway, moving on to college hoops. Tell me about college hoops. Tell me about your weekend.
Yeah, well, we got started last Wednesday, and like I said, I wasn't in the lab, so I was doing everything kind of remotely. But excited. The college basketball season. I'm an ASU guy, so I watched their first 2 games, and very undisciplined team right now. Hopefully, I mean they played Houston Baptist yesterday, but let's just be honest, that's a glorified scrimmage game. And they look good there, but they just outmanned Houston Baptist. They got 2 really good freshmen in Christopher and Bagley, so I'm excited to see what they can do. I'm worried about the offense and stuff that we're doing. It's early, so I'm not going to get overly anxious or anything like that. But I'm hoping Hurley can get these guys to play a little more together, not so much dribbling, the ball sticking, no passing. And it's almost a you go, I go offense. You go this time, I'll go next time. Just multiple dribbles. And we only had one assist in the first half against Villanova. So that's my thing on ASU. But other than that, college basketball's been good. Congratulations to Gonzaga, because I don't see anybody beating that team. Holy crap! I watched them play. Both of those games were they're long, they're big. Everybody can handle the ball. They can shoot from the outside. They can beat you from the inside. They can play defense. I mean, that team is just. I don't think they go undefeated. I'm sure they'll stumble somewhere, but man, I don't see a weakness on that team. So I really like Gonzaga. I was really high on Texas Tech, but I watched that game against Houston yesterday. They struggled offensively. That's the same thing. I thought they were going to be a little better. They got the transfer from Georgetown. I thought they would be a little bit better on offense. Houston's a good team. I'm not taking anything away from them, but Texas Tech, I was kind of worried about them on offense. Richmond went into Kentucky. That Richmond team, I love that Richmond team. They lost Nick Sherrod, which is probably their best player, best scorer, but still went into Kentucky and pretty much dominated that game. So Richmond looks really good. So, but Calipari, it's Kentucky, it's early. That's a typical Calipari team. They're, as the year goes on, they'll get better and better and better. So yeah, it's just exciting. I'm watching Texas and Davidson right now. Davidson, it's a close game. So yeah, I'm excited and looking at it every day, and can't wait to wake up and look at it and make bets and make money.
Very good. Yeah, I looked at a couple of games. I did see Kentucky coming up short against Richmond. I just projected. I have not bet a game yet, but it seemed like an easy projection. I saw Richmond. They were getting 7 points in that game. I thought that was plenty. I believe it was 7, but when I looked at it, it was 7.
It opened at 8.5. It got I think it got bet down to about 7.5, 7. Yeah, and I was on the money line in that game. I just love in Kentucky. I probably wouldn't have taken that money line later in the year, but Kentucky's just they're undisciplined early. That's because they got 4 freshmen on the floor. And, Richmond runs a Princeton-style offense, so you knew that was going to confuse them. I mean, they were backdooring, and you could see that those kids were lost for Kentucky. So, yeah, I mean, but Richmond's a good team. Senior team, got 4 grad transfers in there, so they're going to be – I think that I project them to win the A-10 this year. They're probably going to win the Atlantic 10 this year. So, but, yeah, it's Richmond's a good team, a team I'm high on, a team I got a future on. But I got that before Sherrod got hurt, but I still like them. So, if you want to go over a couple of games today, we've got this is a Maui Classic game, Indiana and Providence. Indiana, they're returning 4 starters from that team last year. They won 20 games. And Providence, if you remember Providence at the end of the year last year, they were on fire. They had covered their last 7 games. And they were my pick to win the Big East before everything got canceled. I really liked them. Yeah, but they lost a couple of their top guards this year, and they got David Duke, who's going to be their best scorer and guard. So in this game, I mean, it's still early. Like I said, I'm not doing anything crazy, nothing, no monster bets or anything like that. But I like Indiana in this game. I think it's going to be a close game throughout. But I think with just the returning players from Indiana and Providence still, and plus Providence 0-5 in their last neutral court games. This is a new year, so it's not the same team. But like I said, they lost their top 2 guards. So I like Indiana here to cover this. I think it'll be close throughout, but I think Indiana will do enough at the end to pull away with this game.
I looked at it. You sent me this to me, and I looked at it myself, and I just I'm not going to make a bet on it. I'll side with you. I do think Indiana is going to win. I think it'll be close. Honestly, I think it could go either way. Just from what I looked at, so I didn't see any distinct advantage. But I think the Indiana money line is the way to go if you're gonna bet Indiana. Obviously, you don't want to chew and get clipped by 1. They win by 1 point. So
yeah, and that's what I did. I did do the money line here. I just Indiana line paid the juice, and that's where I'm going here. So another game today is Pacific at Nevada. Nevada, they actually surprised me. They lost a ton from last year's team, but Nebraska is going to be an improved team. Nebraska is going to be a sneaky team in the Big Ten this year. They've got some kids, that were some problem kids, as in just life. Teddy Allen, who's the brother of Timmy Allen. Teddy Allen actually played with my son at Desert Ridge High School, but he's a scorer. He's a great basketball player, but he's just got a lot of personal issues and stuff. So I hope he can keep his head on. He played at West Virginia under Huggins and then got released from that program, then tried to go play somewhere else in Nebraska. Couldn't, he got released from that team, and now he's with Nebraska. So hopefully, he can make it, because I like him as a kid. I hope, I'm rooting for him. But that Nebraska team's going to be good. And Nevada went in there and beat them. So that was shocking to me. I thought this Nevada team would be rebuilding. And but another thing is this Pacific team, they won 23 games last year, and they've got everybody back. So I'm looking at this game. I'm definitely going to take the 6, but I might sprinkle the money line here with Pacific. I think this is going to be a slower paced game, but I like this Pacific team. They've had 1 or 2 games canceled. I think it was Fresno State. I was liking them against Fresno State, but that game got canceled. So I think this is their first game of the year. But they're returning a lot. They're basically returning that whole team. So I really like Pacific in this game to cover the 6.
Yeah, a lot of value with Pacific in this game. I liked it myself. Nevada did win that game, but obviously the public knows who Nevada is. Pacific's kind of an obscured team in California, but they are playing. Where are they playing this game?
I think it's. I don't know. I think it's. Yeah, I think it's a neutral court game. I don't think it's at Nevada. I think it's. Right. I don't know where it's at, but I know it's not at home.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I just think there's a lot of value with the 6 here. I think it's a close game. Either team could win by 1 or 2, but 6 is plenty, and I'm going to make a small play on Pacific.
Okay. Next game, we got the Johnnies playing Boston College. This is going to be. I've watched both the Boston College games this year, and they're I have to bump them up a little in my power rankings because they played really good. Their guard was hurt in the second game, but they did hold on to beat Rhode Island there. And they had Villanova down in the second half, and then Villanova finally pulled away from them. So this Boston College team I like. St. John's, they new coach. They've been without their top two players the first couple games, and I think they're going to get one of them back tonight. But I like this. This is the third game in Bubblesville for Boston College. So that they're familiar with this court, with this arena, with the surroundings. So this is basically a pick 'em game. So I'm on Boston College here. I think Boston College will. I think this game will be close. I don't think Boston College is a team that's going to blow anybody out by 20. But I like this game to go to the Eagles tonight.
Yeah, I looked at it myself. I lean Boston College in the game. I won't pull the trigger on it, but I did see it as a small margin of victory for Boston College based on what I saw. Small sample size, obviously, can't really get a huge gauge on what's happening, but Boston College does look the right side on this. Good luck with that one.
Yeah, and next game is going to be, I'll let you start off with this one, Georgia State at Mercer. I think this is another, I don't know if it's at Mercer or a neutral court game. I didn't check that, but Georgia State is favored by 2.5 and a total 152.5.
Yeah, I didn't look at the total on this, but Georgia State, I looked at some numbers and essentially, I'm leaning Mercer plus the 2.5. I want to look at it a little bit more. I know the game goes off at, I believe, at 4 p.m., 7 Eastern, whatever it is. But I was looking at this game. I kind of liked Mercer plus the 2.5. I don't know what it opened at, but I'm leaning the dog in this plus the points. I'm going to verify that as the day progresses.
Yeah, I didn't really look at this game. I mean, I'm familiar with both teams. I know Georgia State last year, they were a decent team. They like to play with pace. They've got a couple transfers in. I think one of them from Arizona State. But I didn't really look at this game, so I'll look at it and see what I can come up with. But Mercer's a solid team. They were a solid team last year. So I'll look at this game. I don't really have a beat on it because I didn't look at it that much. Another Maui Classic game is going to be Stanford and Alabama. Alabama's going to be favored by 2 here with a total of 151. And this Stanford team, they lost Tyrell Terry. He went in the second round of the NBA draft, so that was they're going to lose his scoring. But they've got a monster freshman class coming in, and they got Xavier Williamson, who's going to be a really, really good player. Now Stanford, they've suffered. They've had their first game canceled, so they haven't played yet. But they got Da Silva and Davis, a couple seniors. They returned 5 of their top 6 scorers. So Stanford's going to be, I like them in the Pac-12. They're a sleeper to win the Pac-12 along with ASU and UCLA. I think those are the top 3 teams, although UCLA has looked terrible in their first couple of games. So, I couldn't believe how bad they looked, but I still think UCLA will come around. And I like those teams in the Pac, but I like the Stanford team. I really think they're solid. Alabama is, they've got a couple dynamic guards in Shackelford and Javon. I can never pronounce his last name correctly, but there are a couple dynamic guards, and Alabama loves to push pace. They love to play fast. Stanford, they can put up points too, but they're more of a half court offense team. So I like Stanford here, getting the 2. I'm going to play Stanford, take the 2 points, and I might even play the money line here. I like Stanford to win this game.
Yeah, I looked at the game and I saw Stanford hadn't played yet, so I can't. I'm not like I don't know who's coming back, who's out. I got to see some points, some assists, some numbers, some trending, some pacing. I got to be able to gauge that to be able to make a play and kind of make a guess, throw some darts at the board. But I like what you say about that. Stanford, obviously, they got a couple of games canceled, but you expect them to contend for the title. It'd be something to look at. I'll definitely be watching this game later. All
right. And then the last game we'll cover today is Eastern Kentucky playing Xavier. This Eastern 16.5. I'm kind of on the Eastern Kentucky side here. Xavier blew out their first opponent and then struggled in their second game. And Xavier is going to be a good team. I just question, can they build a 20 plus point lead here? Absolutely. I think they can against Eastern Kentucky, but what happened with it, Arizona State and Houston Baptist yesterday, they built a 40-point lead and then they just kind of take the foot off the gas and the other team's still playing hard, still playing their starters. So I think I like Eastern Kentucky to kind of come in there and cover the 16.5, but this isn't going to be a bet for me. I probably won't be on this game. I did look at it, but I haven't made a bet and not on this game yet.
Yeah, you always run that risk with a team like Xavier that could run out to a big lead and then coast in the second half. It's only the third game of the season. I don't know that they will. Are they that good? I know this line went from 14 to 16.5. That's what scares me. Whenever a big favorite moves and moves and moves and moves, and you catch the tail end of the line, the closing line value isn't going to be very good because the public's all over them. I was looking at it. I do think Xavier has a good chance of covering it. Will I ultimately be on the game? I'm not sure. I'll have to just look a little further. But I do think Xavier does get an easy victory here against Eastern Kentucky for sure.
Oh yeah. There's no doubt that they win the game. I just always were like you said, the line's already mid 2.5. I don't know where it's going to end up. Yeah. There's been some big line moves so far at the beginning of college basketball. I mean, I'm used to seeing maybe 1-2 points, but I mean, the Abilene Christian game a couple days ago that started off as a pick and it ended up Abilene Christian minus 7.5. So I mean, and literally like in 4 hours, it went from pick to 7.5. So I've seen a lot of line movements like that, and I don't usually see that at the beginning of the year. So I don't know if it's just a weird year, because games are, they're doing, the Villanova Virginia Tech game. That game was thrown together at the last second because Virginia Tech didn't have anybody to play. So Jay Wright and Villanova were playing. They basically asked Jay Wright during the game if they wanted to play Virginia Tech. So that game kind of just got thrown together. So a lot of that's happening right now. So
sure, and you have books with low limits right now, so they'll take that action. $500 a game, $1,000 a game limit, whatever the book has. They're not going to let you blow, something like that moves 7 points. They're going to limit that. They're going to circle that game. They're going to put a limit on it, and you're not going to be able to blow that thing up, especially with that kind of a move. So that's kind of what happens. I don't know what your book, your book have limits right now on the college hoops.
No, the book that I use, I use 2 or 3 of them, but usually they're the cap on college basketball right now. They're capping everything at like 2,000. So
right.
You can't go over that. And most of those, you have to call anyway. If you're going to make a bet bigger than that, you got to call them and, get it approved. So, but right. It's college, I'm not doing anything crazy early on here. I'm just, I've got my power rankings. I adjust those every day. And, looking for, some teams to surprise, some teams that I had high that maybe aren't as good. So we'll see, but I hope it's here to stay. I hope they get to keep playing. I know there's going to be bumps throughout. It's going to continue to happen. We just have to adjust and hope we get to March.
Well, I'll tell you what, here's my synopsis so far. Look, college football, they canceled some games, but there's games. I'm excited because there's games every day for this college hoops. There's games every single day, and you're going to have multiple games to take a look at, to make a bet on if you like something. And if you don't, and if they cancel a game that day and they have to regroup, schools have to close down for some COVID for a short period of time. I think you have enough schools and you have enough college basketball programs that are involved to where you really won't run out of games, like let's say on a Saturday when things are kind of been barren here for college football for a few weeks. So I think things will be all right. I think they'll get a handle on it. Hopefully they will. The state of California is always in question. We don't know. But I think they'll get a. It's like Jim Bohan was on ESPN. He said we need an across the board protocol for this kind of thing. We can't just have one group doing this and another group doing this and another group doing that. We got to have uniform standards here. So Bowenheim was talking to ESPN about that, and they got to come together and collectively get some kind of a protocol in place because these games must go on, and so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah, and I've whipped on some games, early, big time, and actually just whipped on the first game today. I had the first half under in the Texas Davidson game, based a lot of it off of last year and Texas being, a pretty good defensive team. But man, this game it's already blown past the first half. It's like 37-34 and they still have like 3 minutes to go. So my first bet today is a loser. So, but hopefully throughout the day, I've gotten off to a good start, which is surprising. I thought there was going to be some struggles and stuff like that. I'm updating my record daily. So, I'm at about 60% right now, which is, I take that over the course of the year, but
You
I
play
know
some
I'm going to
volume.
whiff.
You play some volume too, which so
Yep.
60 is good. 60 is very good.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to whiff. I don't pretend to know everything, and I know I'm going to get some things wrong. So I just, I note it, take the notes down and adjust. So
That sounds
yeah.
good. I mean, listen, we'll talk about it going forward, but I mean, we got games every day. We'll have to adjust our podcast and see what we're going to do here. I'm sure we're going to be making some changes based on some scheduling. I know you were out. You had a personal issue and we were gone for a week, but we're back. It's Monday, and we got the Eagles and the Seahawks tonight. We got some college hoops. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Scott, one more time going out. I know you got your today's plays on Scojo Picks. Tell them how they can find you.
Yep. Well, you can go to scojopicks.com. You can go there, read my blogs. I've got a lot of information there. Find me on Twitter at ScojoAZSports, and then on Instagram and Facebook, Scojo Picks. I got a page on Facebook, and you can find me on Instagram. I'm posting stuff there also.
We're going to be cutting these clips and putting them on Twitter, putting them on YouTube. Subscribe to this channel. Punch the like button. We appreciate it. You can find me at _bankroll on Twitter. Episode 17 is over.